All right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in this vast world you may or may not happen to be. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers live, page by page, reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. So today we're going to go into the book of Judges, chapter 20, which covers the Israelites punish the Benjamites. And that's really all the chapter covers. But let's go ahead and get started. I hope everyone out there is having a wonderful start to their weekend. I'm having an interesting weekend. Nothing in my immediate space is wrong at all. Sun is shining outside. I'm feeling pretty good. I actually just finished doing a bit of stretching. Later tonight, I might roast some gourmet sausages over an open flame. We will see how I feel. But there are some things going on when it comes to a few things that I'm aware of. I've made it known to several people they are not to ever contact me again. Hopefully my boundaries will be respected. I want to say that I am incredibly grateful to my family, my legal team, and also to law enforcement. When it comes to something that I'm aware of that has made me an extensive target, I believe that the only time that we really are taken out of this world is when God is ready for us to be taken out. Hopefully that time is not anytime soon for me. But what I will say is when it comes to the various online communities that I've covered over the years, also a couple industries that I've covered since my 20s. Covering things pertaining to controversy and organized crime is very dangerous. Be very careful, everyone, with who you surround yourself with, who you are even a friendly associate or affiliate with. Just as there are good people in this world, there are some downright evil, disgusting creatures in this world masquerading as humans. So stay aware, stay safe, and continue to believe in God and Jesus Christ, because that is what will get you through it. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, this is chapter 20 of the book of Judges. The Israelites punish the Benjamites. All the Israelites from Dan to Beersheba, and also from the land of Gilead, went out and gathered together in an assembly as one man before the Lord at Mizpah. The leaders of all the people from all the tribes of Israel presented themselves in an assembly of the people of God, who numbered 400,000 infantrymen bearing swords. The Benjamites heard that the Israelites had gone up to Mizpah. The Israelites said, "Tell how this evil happened." So the Levite, the husband of the murdered woman, answered, "My concubine and I came to Gibeah in Benjamin to spend the night. Then the leaders of Gibeah rose up against me. At night they surrounded the house where I was staying. They wanted to kill me. Instead, they ravished my concubine so that she died." Mm. You know, that sentence, they wanted to kill me. Instead, they ravished my concubine so that she died. In other words, the men after him literally raped to death the woman who was essentially his sex slave. Part of the reason I believe that Jesus stood up for Mary Magdalene, who was accused of being a prostitute, certain religions have taken back that label from her. But still, if you were a woman in those days, unmarried, Whether you were independent, whether you were a sex worker, whether you were doing anything but being a wife, you would be targeted, and society would find that the targeting that you endured was just. Things have not changed much since the times of the Bible. You would think that in the United States in the year 2025, things would have changed more, but they haven't. I know that myself and several other independent women constantly are under attack. We're constantly targeted because people perceive that there's no man around us, that there's no protection. To the evil men and women who feel that way about women who choose not to walk a traditional marital path, who think that it's okay to target women who you perceive as being alone or vulnerable, God does see you. And oftentimes, God does punish you. But if you are an independent single woman, be very careful, especially nowadays, because you will contend with a lot of jealousy and envy from women who are not independent. And when I say not independent, I'm not only talking about women who are married, women who are under the shield and umbrella of maybe their father, maybe their family, women who just think that they can do whatever they want without consequence. Be very particular, women who are truly independent, who you become friendly with. Please. I seized my concubine, cut her into pieces, and sent her throughout all the territory of Israel, because they committed an infamous and disgraceful act in Israel. Behold, you Israelites, all of you, give your advice and counsel here. All the people arose as one man and said, not a man among us will go to his tent, and no one will turn aside to his house. Now this is what we will do to Gibeah. We will go against it by lot. We will take 10 men out of every 100 from every tribe of Israel, 100 from every 1,000, and 1,000 from every 10,000 to bring provisions for the troops. Then when they come to Gibeah and Benjamin, they may repay them for all the evil they committed in Israel. So all the men of Israel gathered at the city, united like one man. The tribes of Israel sent men throughout the whole tribe of Benjamin, saying, what is this evil that has been committed among you? Now hand over the wicked men in Gibeah, so that we can kill them and purge the evil from Israel. Yet the Benjamites were not willing to listen to their fellow Israelites. The Benjamites gathered from their cities at Gibeah in order to go out and wage war against the Israelites. That day, the Benjamites mustered 26,000 armed men from the cities and 700 specially chosen men from Gibeah. Among all the people were 700 specifically chosen men who were left-handed, all of whom could sling a stone at a hair and not miss. The men of Israel, apart from Benjamin, gathered 400,000 armed men who drew the sword. All of them were men of war. The Israelites arose, went to Bethel, and asked God, who should go up first to wage war against the Benjamites? The Lord said, Judah first. The Israelites got up in the morning and camped against Gibeah. The men of Israel went out for battle with Benjamin, and the men of Israel lined up for battle at Gibeah. Then the Benjamites came out from Gibeah and struck 22,000 men of Israel down to the ground. The people, the men of Israel, rallied and lined up for battle against the place where they had lined up on the first day. Then the Israelites went up and wept before the Lord until evening. They asked the Lord, Should we advance and fight our brother, tribesmen, the Benjamites, again? The Lord said, advance against them. So the Israelites advanced against the Benjamites for the second day. And on the second day, the Benjamites went out from Gibeah to meet them and again struck 18,000 men down to the ground, every one of them armed. Then the Israelites, all the people, went up to Bethel, where they wept and sat before the Lord. They fasted that day until evening and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. The Israelites asked the Lord, because the Ark of the Covenant of God was there in those days, and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, stood before it then. Should we go out again to wage war with our brother tribesmen, the Benjamites, or should we not? The Lord said, go up, for tomorrow I will give them into your hands. So it took about 3 days. So Israel set an ambushing force around Gibeah. The Israelites went up against the Benjamites on the third day and lined up at Gibeah as before. The Benjamites went out to engage the people and were drawn away from the city. They began to strike the people down as before. On the main roads that go up to Bethel and Gibeah and in the field, they struck down about 30 Israelites. The Benjamites said, they are struck down before us like at the beginning. But the Israelites said, let us retreat and draw them away from the city toward the main roads. So all the men of Israel rose up out of their place and assumed their battle positions at Baal Tamar. Then the men of Israel in ambush charged out of their places, out of the meadows of Gibeah. 10,000 specially chosen men from all of Israel came against Gibeah. The battle was fierce, and the Benjamites did not know that disaster was upon them. The Lord defeated Benjamin before Israel. And that day, the Israelites struck down 25,100 Benjamites, every one of them armed. The Benjamites saw that they were defeated. Now, the men of Israel had withdrawn from Benjamin, because they relied on the men in ambush whom they had set against Gibeah. So the ambushing force rushed on and attacked Gibeah. They struck down the whole city with the edge of the sword. The men of Israel had made an agreement with the ambushing force that when they sent up a large amount of smoke from the city, the Israelites would turn around in battle. When the Benjamites had begun to strike the Israelites down, about 30 men, they said, surely they are struck down before us like at the beginning. Yet when the smoke began to rise up from the city in a column, the Benjamites looked behind them, and behold, the whole city went up in smoke to the sky. Then the men of Israel turned around, and the men of Benjamin were horrified because they saw that disaster had come on them. So they fled from the men of Israel toward the direction of the wilderness, but the battle overtook them. Whoever came out of the cities destroyed them in their midst. They surrounded the Benjamites, chased them without rest, and trampled them down near Gibeah toward the east. 18,000 men from Benjamin fell. All these were men of valor. The rest turned and fled toward the wilderness to Rimmon Rock, and they cut down 5,000 men on the main roads. They pursued them relentlessly until they reached Gittim and killed 2,000 of them. And I just do want to note to those of you who may not be Christian, maybe you don't believe in God, maybe you don't believe in Jesus, that's your prerogative. But I've noticed over the years that many who do not believe in Christianity have this assumption that everyone who is a Christian is passive or submissive and by default turns a blind eye when attacked? No. All you have to do is read this chapter of the Bible to learn that. The Bible is full of war. Christianity was forged essentially in a realm of war. Christians tend to be very, very, very strong people. We tend to know what needs to be done before it needs to be done. We tend to follow through. And we tend to forgive ourselves when necessary. Not just others, but ourselves. If you're a Christian out there, just so that you know, there are a lot of people out there who seek to turn you from your faith. Don't let them. Please do teach your children about Christianity. It's very important. There's a lot of forces out there trying to pull you away from it. I'm not saying that every other spiritual path or religion is wrong. I think that everything is a piece of a very large puzzle. But if you're a Christian and you were raised that way and Christianity resonates with you, your best bet really is to stick with it. So the Benjamites who fell that day numbered 25,000, every one of them armed, valorous men. However, 600 men turned and fled toward the wilderness to Rimmon Rock. They dwelt at Rimmon Rock for 4 months. Yet the men of Israel turned back against the Benjamites and struck them with the edge of the sword, city inhabitants, animals, and everything that could be found. Indeed, they set on fire every city that could be found. So that's the end of chapter 20 of the book of Judges. Tomorrow, we will go into Judges 21. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.